Hi and welcome to HRC Online. My name's James. I'm CEO and founder of HRC Online, and we've been doing a really short mini-series on study tips and the best study tips to help you with your CIPD qualification. So far we've covered mindset, we've covered verbs, we've covered word count, we've covered something else which is completely fallen out of my head. See? But today we're going to focus on how to study. And how to study, references and citations, that's the one that fell out of my head. How to study is really interesting. And it's funny that it fell out of my head because the first thing we're going to talk about is the forgetting curve. Now, some of you may be familiar with the forgetting curve. Basically, it's how you learn information and how quickly it falls out of your head. So if you look at the top right here, it says 100%. That's when you've just learned something brand new. And at the bottom axis is the number of days and how quickly it falls out of your head. So within 7 days, if you've watched a video or gone to a class, 90% of it you'll have forgotten. You'll only recall 10% of it. And that's kind of true regardless of the medium of study. So whether it's online learning, face-to-face study, or anything like that, the perks of online study is you're able to go back and review it. The perks of face-to-face study is you're able to sort of draw on more memory triggers, in terms of a room, a smell, a piece, and a conversation, stuff like that, and bring stuff back. So there's pros and cons of both, but statistically speaking, both of it's pretty much the same. Within 7 days, you'll have forgotten 90% of what you learned. And what does that mean when it comes to studying CIPD qualification? Well, you can do one of two things. You can create memory peaks, and you do that by reflecting and relearning. And so you might learn, let's say, for example, you might learn about different organizational structures, and you might learn about that on Monday, and then two days later you'll relearn it. So you almost like a refresh, a recap, a revision, and then you create a second peak in learning, and then 2-3 days later you'll cover it again, and you'll create another peak, and then again, and then what you'll notice is your retention of the subject matter increases. And increases and increases and increases, and the ability to recall the information that's within there is a lot better. And that's really, really helpful if you're trying to commit stuff to your medium-term memory and long-term memory. But I think when we look at CIPD qualifications, it's probably not the most optimal way, because you're having to create these relearning spikes over and over again. You're having to learn information again and again and again. You're having to recap over things, but you don't actually need to. So again, it goes back to the question that we asked in the last session, which is, at this moment in time, are you studying to learn or are you studying to pass? Well, once you get to the writing phase, you're probably studying to pass. And the longer you take, the more information falls out of your head. So if we take the forgetting curve and we apply the questions, let's say you learn one question a day. So you learn AC 1.1 on Monday, you learn AC 1.2 on Tuesday, you learn AC 1.3 on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. By Friday, day 5, if you look on the forgetting curve, you'll see by day 5, you've forgotten 85% of what you've learned on Monday. So you can either study day 1, day 2, day 1, day 2, day 1, day 2, or day 3, and create these peaks so that you can commit it to your medium-term memory and constantly relearn the content over and over again. Or you could just be more efficient, because the questions don't overlap. So and I've just took the first 2 questions here, but if for example, on Monday, on day 1, you learned about AC 1.1 and all the content that's within AC 1.1, and then day 2 you wrote it, well, you're at a 40 to 50% retention, which is way better than 10%. So if you need to relearn something, you can go back really quickly, and the refresh and the recap will be really quick. And one of the things that we see with learners is that they learn the entire syllabus, then they'll open the assessment and they'll start writing, and they'll have to go back because they've forgotten it all and relearn it all, and recap it all and redo it all again and again and again, because again, once you go back to 1, by the time you got back to 7, you've forgotten it all again. So what we recommend is that you create a structure that is learn, write, learn, write, learn, write. So these questions are really clear and they don't overlap and there's no interconnection. So that's really beneficial. And I don't think there is any interconnection across any of the CIPD syllabus, to be honest. Maybe in some of the level 7, but I mean, they are changing ACs and stuff like that, but let's not worry about that at this moment in time, because there's still the fundamental is true, which is if you learn about an AC and then you write about an AC, you can forget about the AC because you've done it. If you learn about an AC and you write about an AC, you've learned about it, you can forget about it and you can move on. So the real reason this is beneficial is imagine this is your, imagine this is your life, if that makes sense, but you're working 37 and a half, you're working 40 hours a week. So you're working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. You want to see family and friends 2 nights a week or 3 nights a week, which gives you 2 evenings. You might want to work a weekend off, you might want a holiday, you might want to go away for a week. So that gives you 2 windows potentially in a week of, let's say, 2 hours to 4 hours each. So you might say, well, on Monday, I'm going to study for 2 hours. And then on Tuesday, I'm going to write for 2 hours or 4 hours, depending on how it works. And I'm going to make sure that I move through the ACs. By approaching your study that way, it doesn't matter if work goes crazy for a week and you've got to come back, and when you come back, you're on AC 1.2 because you've done AC 1.1. You've wrote your answer, you've prepped it, you've done your references, you've done citations, you've got everything that's done, it's boxed off. You're not having to go back and start all over again. You've not made progress. So we recommend that actually, as much as some people like to learn everything and then try and write it, you're creating a big problem for yourselves in a professional education context, because you're already behind the curve because you've got so many pressures in life. Whereas if you can just go, I'm going to write, I'm going to learn and write, doesn't matter if you disappear for a week, 3 weeks, month, when you come back that you're on AC 1.2 and you're going to learn that and you're going to write that. And you can make consistent progress and you can feel like you're progressing through the qualification. I see so many people disconnect with learning and disconnect with the CIPD syllabus because it feels too big. And if you take anything from this series, what we've worked out is it's 70 words per action that CIPD want you to take. It's 300 words per AC on average. As long as you address the verb and you've got all the right evidence and citations to match the verb, then you'll be there. You can break this qualification down into its component parts, and it's just little and often. And it's just about getting those good habits and just about slowly getting yourself through the process, slowly getting yourself to the point of qualifying, and you'll be infinitely more successful. So I would recommend to any learner, the first thing that you should do is get your assessment, work through the questions, highlight the verbs, work out your actions, work out your word count, and then once you've got that all planned out, go, I'm going to learn, and then when I'm writing, I'm writing. So I'm here to learn at this point, I'm here to pass at this point, and I'm going to pick the path of least resistance to pass. And I'm going to write, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to create positive habits that just consistently progress me through the qualification. And you'll be a lot more successful. You'll be a lot less stressed with it. It becomes less of a daunting prospect. And it's something that we recommend to all our learners. It's something that our coaches do with all our learners to ensure that you're breaking down your content into little and often. You're making small steps forward. If you've made it through the whole series, please like, subscribe. If you've got particular questions, if you want us to cover anything in particular, let us know. If you want this series to continue and us to do other short series on particular study, let us know. This has been HRC Online, covering sort of the main errors and advice that we give to people studying CIPD qualification. Thank you everyone for watching. Take care.